Welcome to the D-Shift podcast, where we provide inspiration, motivation, and education to help you transition from the challenges of divorce to discover the freedom and ability to live life on your own terms. Are you ready? Let's get this shift started. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the D-Shift podcast. And I am so fortunate today to be interviewing a fellow Canadian living on the East Coast of Canada. And I am so excited to have her because she is going to talk to us about something that I don't think we can hear enough of. And that is how we can sometimes get stuck when we're going through transitions in life, and life seems to move on, but we don't. And so that can really create a problem for us as women or as men, even going through divorce. So I am so happy to have Pritha Dindayal on here. And she is an amazing, just an amazing woman. I've had the opportunity to speak with her a couple of times. And every time I do, I walk away and feel a little bit wiser for having those conversations. So Pritha, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Marty, for the beautiful introduction. I appreciate that.
And I am so happy to have you on here because I really do think this message of transformation is one that is critical for us to hear, because divorce isn't the only time we're going to have to make a transformation in life and make a transition from where we are to where we want to be. Before we get into that, though, tell us a little bit about how you came to become a transformation coach, helping people navigate that in-between space after something ends and before something begins.
Yeah, good question. So I'm excited to answer it. So I'm here because I know what it's like to fully just lose trust in yourself after a relationship ends, or for the matter, something big ends. And for me, everything fell apart at a time when I truly thought my life was finally starting to settle. I had already been through a divorce. I was married for 7 years, and I endured the devastating loss of my son. And prior to that, during the same time, I had already dealt with about 3 layoffs in my career. And when I thought I met the person I was meant to spend the rest of my life with, and, we got engaged, we moved into a beautiful home, and we were starting to plan this beautiful future together, I thought, wow, things are finally starting to come together for me. And within 3 months, it all crashed. My 5-year relationship abruptly ended. And within 3 months, not only did I lose my relationship, I lost my job and my home. And it completely shook me. And then the loop started. Like, what did I miss? How can he be so cold? Or how did I get this so wrong? And how can I trust myself to choose right again? And honestly, what I didn't realize at the time, Marty, was that even though I was trying to move forward, my decisions were still being shaped by what I didn't want to feel again. My life had changed, but the way I was thinking, I was choosing, I was showing up just hadn't caught up yet. And I remember clearly just feeling so betrayed, so rejected, used, disposable, and I was just reacting from pain.
Yeah.
And honestly, that changes how you show up in everything. It changes how you show up, not just in your relationships, your career, your health. It impacts your self-worth and your confidence levels. And, I have this example, so after my engagement ended sometime after, and I felt like I was ready to start dating again, I realized that I wasn't dating from, I was dating from, I never want to feel this way again. And I was versus choosing what I truly wanted. And I realized I was choosing from loneliness and wanting to feel desired and chosen and needed and, avoiding rejection. And honestly, it left me tolerating the same self-sabotaging things, inconsistency and staying emotionally available to people who are not available to me, giving way more energy to someone who didn't give it back, and really sacrificing what I truly wanted. And it wasn't because I didn't know, it's because I was just still operating from pain.
Yeah.
And I realized that when something big ends, especially something that has shaped your identity for so long, Marty, life can change very fast. but we don't automatically change overnight. And no one really talks about that part
Right.
because you think you're stuck because you don't know what to do. But the reality is that's not true. We've thought about it. We talked to our friends. We've, replayed things. And the issue to me is not that you don't know what to do. It's just your life changed, but you didn't. Your life is moving forward, but you're still making decisions from a version of you that lived in an old chapter.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're still reacting from that version of you that got hurt. And that's why you feel stuck oftentimes.
And I really resonate with that whole thing of you can't approach life trying to avoid a painful situation. Like, of course, we want to be safe and we want to be careful and we want to be aware of red flags and patterns and all those kind of things. But yeah, it whether you believe in the law of attraction, what you put out there is what you get back. And if you're putting out there, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, it's a whole different energy and a whole different way of meeting people than if you say, I want this, I want this person who is respectful and loving and treats me with respect and with honor and dignity. And that's what I'm going to give them. That's a whole different thing than I don't want somebody who's going to hurt me.
Yeah, it is. It's true. And then, like, my turning point came when I had a coach, and she held that mirror up to me and showed me something that I couldn't see myself. And I do honestly believe that sometimes we can't see our own blind spots while we're in them. And that's why it's so important to surround yourself with the right tribe. And I thought I was building a new life, but I was just reacting to the old one.
Yeah.
And this is key. And this was a hard truth for me. I was making decisions from rebellion. And I was thinking, I never want to tolerate that again. I never want to feel that way again. And when you start making decisions from what you don't want, you're being controlled by the past.
Yeah.
And you're just reacting. You're not creating from who you are now. And that gives you a whole different type of energy.
Yeah. And that whole thing that we can't see our own stuff is so true. And it's the reason why I really believe this. Good coaches have coaches. Good therapists have therapists. If we're not constantly growing, we're going nowhere. And you're right. We do have a blind spot for our own ways of doing things that all it takes is somebody to say, what else, how else could you handle that? Or what is this? Is this way of making decisions? What is that costing you? That can be a really powerful question. I love that you said that.
It shows up in everything. And if I'll be really honest here, it even shows up in my business. When I left my 22-year corporate career to start my own business, I was acting from being rebellious against corporate. I didn't want a fixed schedule. I don't want someone telling me I need to take when I need to take vacation, or, I don't want to work nights and weekends and just feel underappreciated. So without realizing it, instead of building my business from excitement, I was building it from rebellion. Oh, I never want to feel that way again. And then all the energy I was putting into led to just me overthinking or heightened perfectionism. I already am a perfectionist, but it went heightened and pressure and procrastination for fear of just making the wrong move. And I realized, and it took my business coach to point this out very, very strongly, is that I wasn't moving towards something that I wanted to create. I was trying to escape something.
Right.
And I want to give this example. I think a lot of people can maybe relate to this. So I had a client, she's 55 years old. She has two grown kids, single now. And she was telling me that she wore this incredible dress to go out. I think she was going out with some friends. And her first instinct was, oh my God, is this too much? What will people think? I usually don't wear things like this. Should I turn it down? And what we discovered is that she was just asking for permission. Her nervous system was so activated that she was asking for permission to be seen, to feel desirable again, to really stop shrinking into that appropriate, so-called appropriate 50 something divorced woman role.
Right.
And it was never about the dress. She was just consulting this, what I call an outdated version of herself, Like I find like when we're in relationships, we become in this routine. Like your Friday nights and your weekends, they come very predictable, right?
Yes.
Your body, your wardrobe, your energy, and your routines, it all starts to adapt to that life. And then when the relationship ends and life changes and you don't, you keep living the same way. And without even considering, like, does this match who I am now? Like, does it really make sense for who I am now? And then that's where you stay in that comfort zone and that familiarity. And that's when the second guessing and the overthinking and the opinion seeking comes in. And that woman, beautiful 55-year-old who rocked the dress, I mean, she was just questioning
Yeah.
whether she's allowed to be this now, you
Yeah.
know?
And so what you just said, I think, is really profound. We get into, I'm just going to call it a rut when we're in a relationship. And then when that relationship ends, I call it the post relationship void. It's just like there's this nothingness almost. And if we're uncomfortable in moving forward, then we do try to keep just, recreating it. And if that life was, coming home Friday night and kicking off your shoes and putting on your jammies and sitting and, binging a Netflix series, then that's what you continue to do even after life changes. And that can be really isolating for people.
It can be really isolating. And that's where you have to ask yourself, making, are you being defensive and making a decision from comfort or familiarity versus being a little bit more intentional,
Right.
and choosing from who you are now? That's the key there is really being, and it's being honest with yourself. The honest version of yourself would be, you know what? I really prefer just to be in bed by 9 o'clock and have an easy night. And I don't like bars and that's okay.
Yeah.
But if you're making that decision from, oh, honestly, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to wear. I don't even know how to act when I go out. That's where you need to catch yourself and be like, okay, am I making the decision from where I was versus, okay, this is the person I want to become, and this is where I am now, and these are the decisions that honestly are best suited for me right now.
Yeah. And I love the idea of it's not what your friends think you should do, or your mom thinks you should do, or your sister thinks you should do. It's what you know for yourself is the right thing. And I'm with you. I mean, in my 20s or 30s, yeah, Friday night it was going out night and it was having fun and it was, whatever that going out with friends or going out with a partner or doing something. Now it is sitting at home watching Netflix, and I'm very comfortable doing that. But I make a conscious decision. I choose to do this. I may also choose to go out, or I may choose to, start a new hobby or find new friends or whatever I want to do. And this is where I think the idea of that, what you do, the transformational coaching to help people get into that mindset of, I am in control of my life. I know who I am and I can make decisions.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's like, a lot of the work that I do is just really helping people understand, like, what's keeping you tied to an older way of living or what no longer fits, even if it once worked well. I think
Right.
that's really important. Like, it might have worked well in your old chapter, but maybe this is just not what you need right now.
Right.
And what patterns keep pulling you back into that same mental and emotional loops. And another big one is like, what really is draining your energy that is leaving you frustrated and resentful. It's just really taking an honest look inwards.
Yeah, and let's, if you don't mind, let's focus a little more on that whole, that what you just talked about. What is sucking the life out of you, for lack of a better word? Because sometimes I think, especially women, and do you work with women and men, Pritha, or is it just Pritha, or is it just women?
I do work with both, but mainly women.
Yeah, the same with me. So, but I just find women tend to be the people that find me more often than men. What do you think? Or how do you see that energy drain being what everybody else thinks I should do? Do you think that that's a big thing for women that you work with, that they?
Yeah, it is big because it's like one big question is like, what are you not admitting to yourself? That's a really big, powerful question. It's like, what do you say yes to, but you really mean no to? Or what do you say no to, but you really mean yes to, right? And I think that's where we come in, and a lot of women come in and they're just not being honest with themselves, right? They're not able to say out loud that one thing that they're not admitting to themselves. And that can take on so much. That can suck all the energy out of you
Yeah,
when you're not living in alignment to who you are. And another big thing, and I've noticed this with me, is at a different stage in life, when you're going through a big stage like a major relationship ending or a divorce, and all your tribe around you is married and happy relationships, or maybe have kids, like your decisions now are coming from a different place, from a different stage of life. And that's where you need to be able to look within and be like, okay, this is what I need right now.
right, right.
It makes, I have my friends that are married with kids, and honestly, it takes me months sometimes to make plans with them. So I've had to find new hobbies, and I have a new tribe of people that I can call up at a whim and being like, hey, would you like to, do something even Tuesday night,
Right, right.
versus my other core group of friends. I love them, but honestly, it does take months for me
Yeah,
to make plans with them. Um, Another big question that I like to ask is like, what are you blaming age, timing, and circumstances on?
that's a good
You
one.
know, that is a big one because, or other people. What are you blaming age, timing, circumstances, or other people on? Right. And that's when you kind of get into that victim mode of like, okay, well, no, I'm at this age, I can't do this, or no, this is too late for me to even try this, or no, 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 my friends say no, I can't do this. So, um, and what are you saying you're going to, but it's more practical versus actually just staying comfortable. Like there's a big difference between being practical versus, um, you know what, I'm just comfortable.
Yeah. And it's okay to do some things that you're just comfortable at. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be
It's
out there going zip lining and skydiving and everything else. But if you
not at all.
want to, do it. If you don't, but I really think that getting out of this comfort zone at some level, even if it's just a little, like a half a baby step to get out of the comfort zone. It doesn't have to be something big, but the more that you do that and the more that you have positive experiences, the easier it gets to maybe consider some of those bigger things.
It's true. It's very true.
And just find, and I love that question. What are you blaming? Age, circumstances, people. There was a couple of other things that you mentioned.
Timing, age, other people and circumstances.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I think we use that as an out, and when we're married, we do this all the time. Oh, I'd love to come to your thing, but my spouse is doing something else, and maybe they are and maybe they aren't, but it's a convenient excuse, right, to get out of
Yes.
things. And so what are we doing for ourselves? And that doesn't, again, you're not, well, you should just say yes to everything. That's not the message you're saying. You're saying be intentional about how you make those decisions.
Be in alignment with who you are and where you are now.
Yeah. How
That's big.
how easy do you find it is for people to make these transformational steps? Do people tend to get the idea and then run with it, or do most people need a little bit of support and encouragement to make those changes?
When you get that aha moment that when someone calls you out and you're like, oh my goodness, this makes a lot of sense now. That's the big turning point. When my business coach told me that I was acting from a rebellious standpoint against corporate, everything changed for me because I'm like, you're right. And I caught myself making how I was making the decisions and when I was procrastinating, why I was procrastinating. Same thing with the clients I've had with dating. When they realize it's like, okay, well, this is how I felt from my last relationship. And wow, I don't really like this guy. I know it's not that I don't like him. I just know that he's not the one for me for a long-term relationship, but I'm still staying in this. It's, the term situationships.
Right.
Um, they're like, wow, I am reacting from loneliness or fear of being rejected, or I just want to feel chosen or needed.
Yeah.
That's, it's when you have that moment and it hits you hard, that's when the change starts to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of that, you're right, that aha moment, that, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes, this is what, this is what, and I think that's the beauty of coaching, because all coaches do is ask you questions. When I say all, I'm saying that not like that's just a minor thing, but they ask you questions that allows you to maybe take a look at things from a perspective that you haven't before. And you're right, when those moments come and all of a sudden you can literally see a light bulb going off in your head when these changes happen.
And they say it's true. It's like once you see it, it's hard to unsee it,
Right.
right? And that's when you start to, and this is where the practice comes in though. But once you see it, it's hard to unsee it, but you have to make sure you interrupt it.
Right.
And then you're able to practice, you know, and acknowledge when you're operating from the old way versus the new way, when you're
Yes.
operating from a place of defensiveness versus a place of more intentional action that's more aligned with what you want in your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. And I think this is a good time to slip this in here. You are offering a gift to everybody that is listening.
Yes.
Can you tell
Yes.
us a little bit about your gift? Because I think it's a
Yes.
phenomenal resource.
Oh, thank you. So I put together this free guide called 12 Things That Keep You Stuck After a Divorce and How to Reframe Them. So it has 12 things that you're thinking and how to reframe it. So these are just thoughts that when I've worked with clients and I've heard them from so many people on, why they kind of feel stuck or get into their head. These are just very simple reframes that will help shift you out of your head and help you to see things for a little bit more clearly for what they are.
Yes, yes, and that's a fantastic resource, and because it again, it's shifting your way of looking at a problem you're experiencing or you may be experiencing.
Yes.
What, Prita, what do you think of all the things that you've talked about? And you've shared some really, really insightful things here. What's the one takeaway you want people to remember today?
The one takeaway that I want people to remember is that everything changes when decisions start coming from who you are and where you are today. And I really want people to start asking themselves, like, what would the woman I'm becoming from choose right now? And I want people to remember this. As long as your past is making those decisions, the future will keep repeating itself. And when you stop choosing from either survival or pain or what hurt you or what you didn't want, um, that's when you get unstuck,
Yeah.
because you're living in alignment with what you want. And I just want people to remember this. Nothing is wrong with you. You just haven't updated the way that you see yourself yet.
Lovely.
That's powerful.
That is a powerful and such a positive message to end this on. Pritha, I'm going to put the link for your gift in the show notes so people can reach out and get that. What is the best way if people want to find out more about what you do? What's the best way to find you?
They can find me on Instagram, breakthroughwithprita.com. I'll share my website later. I am working on that. But right now, the best way is my Instagram handle.
And I will make sure that is in the show notes. Pritha, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom. And you're so grounded in sharing this. And I think it's such a positive message for people to hear, because it can be a big change for people after divorce, and women in particular, I think, because there's a lot of identity things going on there when a divorce happens. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much, Mardi.
And thank you. Oh, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for listening into this episode of The D Shift. And don't forget to tune in to the next one. Thanks for listening and supporting the D Shift podcast. If you would like to attend live trainings by our amazing guests and have a chance to ask questions and get answers from our experts, join the D Shift crew. For more details and to sign up, head on over to www.divorcecoachforwomen and click on the podcast page.